The church doors swung open with a groan that echoed like a death knell, and there I stood, veil fluttering in the autumn wind, my white gown pooling around me like spilled milk. The aisle stretched before me, empty except for the scattered rose petals wilting under the stained glass light. Guests shifted in their pews, whispers rustling like dry leaves. My fiancé, Mark, waited at the altar, his smile faltering as he glanced at his watch. But my father, my rock, my promise-keeper, was nowhere. The organist's notes hung in the air, expectant, mocking. Then my phone buzzed in the bridesmaid's clutch. A text from Dad. "Can't make it, sweetie. Emergency with Lila's promotion party. You understand, right? Love you. Understand." The word burned like acid in my throat. I crumpled to the floor, the satin tearing against the stone, sobs ripping from my chest as the world blurred into fury and betrayal. How could he choose her again? That moment replayed in my mind like a nightmare on loop as I drove home from the reception that never was. Mark had called it off, his face pale with second-hand humiliation. "We can reschedule," he'd said, but his eyes screamed doubt. The highway blurred through tears, rain slamming the windshield like accusations. My sister Lila's career party. What a joke. She'd landed some mid-level marketing gig, and suddenly it was champagne and confetti, while my wedding, planned for years, became an afterthought. Dad had always favored her, the golden child with her effortless charm and straight-A smile. Me. I was the quiet one, the reliable daughter who never demanded the spotlight. But this was the knife twist I'd ignored for too long. I pulled into the driveway of our family home. Mine now, since Mom passed 5 years ago, leaving me to pick up the pieces while Dad doted on Lila from afar. The house loomed dark, the porch light flickering like a hesitant heartbeat. Inside, the air smelled of stale coffee and forgotten laundry. I kicked off my heels, the click echoing in the empty hall, and sank onto the couch, clutching the veil like a shroud. Heartbreak clawed at my chest, raw and unrelenting. How many times had I forgiven him? The missed birthdays, the holidays where Lila's calls pulled him away. "She's ambitious, Elena," he'd say. "You know how it is." But I didn't. I was the one who'd stayed, nursing Mom through cancer, holding her hand as she slipped away. Lila had been too busy with college parties. Resentment bubbled up, hot and viscous, mingling with the humiliation of that abandoned aisle. Guests had pitied me. Poor Elena, always second best. I imagined their whispers. Her own father bailed for a party. Obsession took root then, a dark seed in my gut. What if I made him feel it? The abandonment, the worthlessness. But guilt nipped at the edges. He was my dad, flawed but loving in his way. Wasn't he? I paced the living room, the carpet worn thin under my bare feet. Photos lined the mantel, Lila's graduation beaming with Dad's arm around her. My own, a solo shot because he'd been at her soccer game. The injustice fueled my thoughts, spiraling into fantasies. What if I exposed her? Lila's promotion wasn't earned. It was slept for, whispers from mutual friends suggested. Or worse, what if I ruined the party retroactively? Hacked her socials, spilled secrets. No, too petty. Revenge needed to sting, to mirror the betrayal. Doubt crept in as I brewed tea, the kettle's whistle piercing the silence. Was I overreacting? Weddings could be rescheduled. Families mended. But the text glowed on my phone. "You understand, right?" No, I didn't. The steam from the mug warmed my face, but inside a cold resolve hardened. I'd planned something deliberate, something that forced him to choose. Permanently. The next morning, sunlight slanted through the blinds like prison bars. I called in sick to work. My graphic design job could wait, and scrolled through Lila's Instagram. Photos from the party. Dad toasting her, his grin wide, oblivious to the wreckage he'd left. Comments gushed. Father-daughter goals. Bile rose in my throat. I texted Dad. "We need to talk." His reply. "Busy today, hon, tomorrow?" "Tomorrow it is," I muttered, fingers trembling as I typed back agreement. But in my mind the plan coalesced. I'd invite him over, confront him, but weave in subtle barbs. Remind him of Mom's last days, how Lila had ghosted us. Make him squirm with guilt. Then escalate. What if I faked a crisis? Pretended illness to pull him from Lila's next big thing? No, too manipulative. Or was it? Moral conflict twisted my insides. I wasn't the villain here. Was I? That afternoon I met Mark at a coffee shop, the aroma of espresso grounding me amid the chaos. He looked haggard, circles under his eyes. Elena, what happened? Your dad. That's messed up. I stirred my latte, the spoon clinking rhythmically. He chose Lila. Again. My voice cracked, heartbreak surfacing despite the anger. Mark reached for my hand. Talk to him. Don't let this ruin us. But as he spoke, resentment flared. This was my family imploding. I will, I lied, squeezing his fingers. Inside, fantasies bloomed. What if I turned Dad against Lila? Planted evidence of her lies. Her affair with the boss, the embezzlement rumors I'd overheard. Subtle hints, nothing traceable. Fear prickled my skin. What if it backfired? What if I lost him entirely? The day dragged, tension coiling like a spring. Evening brought a knock. Lila, uninvited, her designer bag slung over her shoulder, makeup flawless. Sis. Heard about the wedding snafu. Dad feels awful. She breezed in, hugging me with that perfumed embrace that always felt performative. The living room felt smaller, her presence sucking the air. Awful enough to skip it. I snapped, voice sharper than intended. Lila blinked, feigning surprise. It was my big night. VP of Marketing, can you believe? Dad insisted on being there. Insisted. The word ignited fury. He promised me first. She waved it off, perching on the couch. Promises are flexible. You'll reschedule. Mark's great about that stuff. Humiliation burned. Her casual dismissal, like my life was an adjustable calendar event. Suppressed rage simmered as I poured wine. Hands steady despite the storm inside. Tell me about the party, I said, voice honeyed. Probe for weaknesses. Lila lit up, chattering about toasts, networking, Dad's proud speech. He said I'm the future of the family. Obsession deepened. She'd always stolen the light. But as she spoke, I noticed her fidgeting, glancing at her phone. Hidden motives. Maybe the promotion wasn't clean. After she left, I sat in the dark, guilt warring with resolve. Planning began in earnest. Research her company, dig for dirt. A quick search revealed forum posts. Anonymous complaints about favoritism. Fodder for anonymous tips. Doubt nagged. This could destroy her career. Was that justice or jealousy? The next day, Dad arrived, his truck rumbling into the drive. He looked older, lines etched deeper around his eyes. We sat at the kitchen table, the wood scarred from years of family meals. Elena, I'm sorry, he started, voice gruff. Lila needed me. Needed. Echoed, heartbeat thundering. What about me? Walking me down the aisle. That was your promise to Mom. He winced, rubbing his temples. Your mom would understand. Lila's on the rise, you're stable. Stable. The word slapped like rejection. Heartbreak twisted into resentment. Stable means forgettable. No, hon. He reached out, but I pulled back. Dialogue hung heavy, revealing cracks. You've always picked her, I whispered. Why? He sighed. Lila reminds me of your mom. Bold, unstoppable. You're like me. Steady. The admission stung, layered with unintended cruelty. Moral complexity hit. His favoritism stemmed from grief, projecting onto Lila. But it didn't excuse the betrayal. As he left, promising to make it up, cold resolve settled. Revenge wouldn't be rash. It'd be surgical. I'd attend her next event, sabotage subtly. Spill wine on her dress. Too childish. No, expose her secrets at the family dinner I'd plan. Invite everyone, drop bombshells casually. Suspense built in quiet moments. Staring at the ceiling that night, fantasies evolved. What if I forged emails proving her affair? Fear gripped, crossing lines into illegality. Guilt whispered stop. But obsession won. She'd feel the humiliation I did. Days blurred into preparation. I reconciled with Mark temporarily. His support a facade for normalcy. Inner thoughts churned. Denial faded. Planning sharpened. I'd host a make-up dinner, lure them in. Then strike. The dinner arrived, table set with Mom's china, candles flickering like accusatory eyes. Dad and Lila chatted amiably, oblivious. Tension thickened as I served pasta, sauce steaming. To family, Dad toasted. To promises kept, I added, voice laced with edge. Lila laughed. Cheers to my promotion. That's when I dropped the first hint. Heard some rumors at your company, sis. About how you got it. Her fork paused midair. Dad frowned. What rumors? Subtle, strategic. Suspense simmered. Would she crack? Inner conflict raged. This felt wrong but justified. As the night wore on, revelations teased out. Lila's defensive denials, Dad's growing doubt. The air crackled with unspoken rage. By dessert, seeds of discord were sown. But the real retaliation loomed. The dinner lingered like a bad aftertaste. Conversations clipped and eyes averted. Lila excused herself early, claiming a headache, her laugh forced as she kissed Dad goodbye. He stayed, nursing coffee, the kitchen clock ticking like a countdown. What's with the rumors, Elena? He asked, voice low. I feigned innocence, stirring sugar into my mug. Just office gossip. Someone said she charmed her way up. The words tasted bitter, a mix of truth and exaggeration. I'd anonymous tipped her HR department days ago, planting seeds from those forums. Not outright lies, embellished facts. Moral grayness enveloped me. Was this revenge or truth-telling? Dad's face crumpled, guilt flashing. I shouldn't have missed your wedding. I regret it. Too late. Heartbreak had morphed into obsession. Cold resolve my armor. Regret doesn't fix it, I said softly. But inside, doubt flickered. What if this destroyed us all? The following week, tension escalated slowly, like a pot simmering. Lila called, voice shrill. What did you say to Dad? He's questioning everything. Me. Nothing. Lie smooth as silk. Suppressed rage fueled me. Her entitlement, his blindness. Work became a blur. Designs on my screen abstract swirls mirroring my turmoil. Mark noticed, his concern grating. You're distant, Elena. Talk to me. I am, I snapped, then softened. Just family stuff. Hidden motives. I couldn't drag him into this vortex. Foreshadowing crept in subtly. Anonymous emails to Lila's boss, hinting at improprieties. Not from me, traceable to a burner account. Fear knotted my stomach. What if caught? But fantasies of her downfall propelled me. Humiliated at work, Dad seeing her flaws. Then the call from Dad. Lila's in trouble. Investigation at her job. Shock feigned perfectly. What happened? Allegations. Favoritism, maybe more. His voice cracked. Layered characters emerged. His love for her tainted by disappointment, mirroring my own resentment. I visited him, the house feeling colder, echoes of Mom's absence louder. We sat on the porch, wind rustling leaves like whispers of conspiracy. I always thought she was perfect, he admitted. But maybe I pushed her too hard. Guilt surged in me. Had my actions forced this confession? Inner conflict peaked. Obsession warred with remorse. Was poetic justice worth the fallout? Suspense built as Lila confronted me at my apartment, rain pounding the windows like fists. She burst in, coat dripping, eyes wild. You did this. The tips. It's your style, Elena. Jealous bitch. Dialogue crackled with tension. Jealous? You stole my day. It was one party, she yelled. One. It's always you. Rage erupted, authentic and layered. We circled each other, words weapons. Dad chose you over Mom's dying wish. He paled. Mom's wish. He promised her, walk me down the aisle. Heartbreak raw exposed. Lila deflated, sitting heavily. I didn't know. I pushed him to come. Manipulation revealed. She'd guilt him, playing on his favoritism. Moral complexity deepened. She wasn't evil, just selfish, driven by insecurity. But resolve hardened. Too late for sorries. She left, defeated, the door slamming like finality. Planning intensified. The climax, a family intervention I'd orchestrate. Invite them to clear the air. Then unveil everything. The night arrived, a storm brewing outside, mirroring the atmosphere. Dad and Lila sat stiffly in the living room, fire crackling ominously. I paced, sensory details vivid. The creak of floorboards, scent of wood smoke, tension thick as fog. Let's talk truth, I began. Lila, your promotion, was it earned? She bristled. Of course. Lies. I pulled out printed emails, forged subtly, blending real rumors. Affair with the boss. Dad gasped. Elena, where'd you get this? Anonymous source. Lie but believable. Lila's face twisted in fury. You fabricated this. Denial but doubt seeded. Suspense peaked as arguments flew. Accusations, tears, revelations. Dad's heartbreak mirrored mine, betrayed by his favorite. Then the twist. As chaos crested, my phone buzzed. Mark. Elena, I can't do this. Your obsession. It's toxic. We're done. Shock jolted me. Unexpected consequences. In pursuing revenge, I'd isolated myself. Guilt crashed down. Had I become the betrayer? But poetic justice unfolded. Lila confessed partial truth, the flirtation not full affair. Dad turned away, disillusioned. I failed you both. The room fell silent, storm raging outside. I stood alone amid the wreckage, cold resolve crumbling into regret. Revenge tasted ashes, satisfying yet hollow. The family fractured, but in the mirror of their pain I saw my own. Was this victory or mutual destruction? In the end, as they left in silence, a chilling realization. The real betrayal was mine against myself. Obsession had consumed me, leaving scars deeper than any aisle walk could heal.